everybody for attending this evening's presentation on organizing and downsizing your home. Again, my name is Caralyn Kempner. I am a professional home organizer. I've been doing this for over a decade. And I'm also the author of the book, Top to Bottom Home Organizing, which is an inclusive book on the subject of organizing anything in your home. So I am a minimalist, in case you're wondering. I was one of these kids that was just born to organize. Do you guys not mind that I'm wearing my mask? I just have to wear that. Okay, good. Okay,
If the lighting is okay too, I
anything else?
if the lighting is okay for you.
Lighting.
Carolyn, is it okay for you to project her? Sorry.
So I was just this kid that like all the parents in the neighborhood wanted to get over because I always cleaned up all the toys under everybody. I was the babysitter that was sought after because I literally picked up the house before the parents arrived home. I remember an incident when I was about 10 or 12 years old. My grandmother's great aunt was going to be evicted from her apartment had she not decluttered her apartment. She was a hoarder. And back in the day, that wasn't even a word or a thing. So I remember the experience very vividly. Remember, I was just a little kid, about 10 years old, that I remember the apartment, and it was like this tiny little trail that just led through the whole apartment. And on either side of the trail, there was a mound of clutter. But I really was excited about being there. It was strange, you know, my sister dreaded it. My mother was like, oh gosh, when is this gonna be over? And I was like, this is fun. And I remember just being able to take all her things, sort everything out, decide what would my great aunt need, what should go to donation, what is trash. And we ended up making this home, this apartment for this lady. Her landlord was happy, and this lovely lady was able to stay in her apartment. You know, feelings like this have always been instilled in me since my childhood, and it eventually led me to form my own home organizing business, which I currently own and operate today, Organizing Interiors. I have helped so many people take big retirement, unpack people, pack people, senior downsize, make beautiful arrangements for people. I have done everything you can think of in the organizing industry through all these years. And I want to share this information with you in this evening's presentation. I do talk a little fast, by the way, so if I am going a little fast, just tell me to slow down. So in this presentation, I really want you guys to understand how to go about the process of home organizing. And you need to have a certain mindset for it. And this is very imperative, because without this, you will not be successful in a home organizing venture. Then I would like to also talk about clutter, because clutter is the biggest roadblock to unsuccessful home organizing. If you cannot get rid of your stuff, you will not have successful home organization, period. Then I'm going to talk about downsizing. Downsizing means moving from a large home to a smaller home. And when you do that, you need to get rid of things, which could be clutter. Then I'm going to wrap up the discussion talking about a three-part method, which is so easy peasy. I devised it, probably many organizers use it, that will help you start and finish any home organizing project in your home. And when I mean any home organizing project, I mean any home organizing project. So we're going to save that for the last part of the presentation. Now, as I mentioned earlier, it's very imperative that you want to organize. Okay, you have to take this seriously. It is something that most people put off. They don't take it seriously. You have to carve it into your calendar like you would for anything else. You're having coffee with your friends, you prioritize that, you put it in your calendar. You have a hair appointment, you put that in your calendar. You're getting your nails done, you put that in your calendar. This has to go in your calendar. Period. If you don't do it, it's going to be tomorrow, next year, next week. It'll just go on and on and on. You'll never do it. So that is very important. Also, it is so important for you to only block out 3 hours at a time. Because I can tell you, if you're a newbie at organizing, it is going to be very taxing and overwhelming. And all of you have been there, you know what I'm talking about. If you give yourself these small increments of time, you are going to be so much happier and just do maybe 2 a week. So, did you have a question? Okay, so if you just were able just to block out just twice a week or every other week, whatever you can manage your time, all you guys are busy and I know what it's like, but if you can take some time out, even if it's once a month, please schedule it in your calendar like you would for anything else that is important. Now, the main reason why people don't organize is because they are notorious procrastinators. Disorganized people equal procrastinators. And there's reasons for this, okay? A procrastinator is somebody who does not find value in organizing. They don't see the benefit of it. Or they fear organizing, so they're just gonna push it off. Oh gosh, I remember the last time I organized, I took everything out of my kitchen cabinet, and I didn't know what to do. I was so overwhelmed, I just shoved everything back in, and I said, I'm never doing this again. Or they fear getting rid of things. Nobody likes to get rid of stuff. Oh my gosh, it's so confusing. When you put this, you keep it. Oh my gosh, it's so confusing. I don't know what to do. Oh, I just need to get it. People don't like to go through the clutter process with life, so they fear that. So these are all the reasons why people procrastinate. But once you have a method, and I teach you this method, it won't feel like that, I promise you. Now, I want to also just reiterate the whole inner satisfaction of procrastinating and why people do it. So people who procrastinate with organizing, they don't see a need for it. They don't think it's going to help them. They don't, and that's why they delay it. And they don't care if their husband's yelling at them. Oh, come on, would you please organize this? I have so many clients that I call, I'll have the husband call me up and say, my wife's so disorganized, and they're yelling on the phone. I'm not kidding you. And it's like, she is not going to get motivated by you yelling at her. She is only going to get motivated to organize if she wants it, because we only catapulted into action by our inner feelings and what we believe is going to benefit us. Now, it's very obvious, and everybody in this room knows what is going to benefit them if they organize, right? But I'm just going to quickly recap all the benefits of organizing, just to reiterate that. Benefits of organizing, okay? It saves you money from buying things that you already have, okay? You no longer embarrassed having people over, you find things bad, you have more space in your home, you feel comfortable in your home, and there are studies, ton of studies that show when your home is peaceful and it is decluttered and organized, you do feel a sense of peace and serenity in your home. End of story. Okay? You want a home like that, don't you? And also, it reduces stress when you're looking for something. I can't find something. This is such an important document. I can't find my passport. You know, it saves you time finding things, and it reduces that anxiety of not knowing where something is. These are good benefits. I don't know what they are. Okay? So, reiterate these to any individual in your home that doesn't seem to agree with you, and maybe it'll catapult them out of the procrastination stage into the action stage. Another reason why people procrastinate is because they remember the last time they organized, it was a complete disaster. They took everything out of the kitchen cabinet and they put them all on the countertop, they cleared out the refrigerator, and they didn't know what to do at all. And they just ended up just haphazardly putting everything right back into the cabinet, right back into the pantry, right back into the refrigerator, and they said, forget it, I'm never doing this again. And I also have people that fear getting rid of things. I don't want to get rid of this. I don't know if I should get rid of it. It's too confusing. I don't want to go through that 10-minute time, and I don't want to go through all that confusing, mind-boggling, draining episode of figuring out what to keep and what not to keep. Okay, so these are the main points, and this, my friends, is what keeps people from organizing. Now, if you are downsizing, okay, I'm not saying everybody doing downsizing, but I'm just saying that this could be applied toward anybody that just is simply decluttering. Okay, you want to declutter your whole house. Your whole house is just filled with stuff. So you are moving from a 2,000 square foot home to a 1,000 square foot home. Guess what? You need to get rid of 50% of your stuff, or it's not all going to fit. I cannot tell you how many people end up just packing. I do so many unpacking jobs, and they take everything with them. They do not declutter before they move. And they end up with so many things. They have a whole room dedicated to boxes of things that won't fit anywhere else in their house. You do not want to be that person. It is so expensive to move. I do it for a living. People pay me a lot of money to unpack and pack. And I can tell you services cost a lot. So be very mindful of this, and we recognize that you need to declutter. And if you have a lot of clutter to begin with in your home, then that's even going to be more stuff to get rid of besides this 50%, right? So these are just like statistics and numbers that you need to just keep in your mind. Now, I want to touch on this issue and this topic, I guess. There are reasons why people can't get rid of stuff. And I want to talk about them because they're deeply rooted, they're psychological, but everyone in this room may have, may feel with some of them. And they may resonate with you. But I'm going to tell you, just having some type of awareness of these will help you in the decluttering process. And please recognize that you are not alone. All my clients share these same feelings. It's amazing how we all think alike. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the reason why people are shackled to their possession. I'm going to go over 5 really quickly, top reasons why people can't get rid of their stuff. Number 1, people think, this is the number 1 reason, I'm going to use this item again, Caralyn. It is useful, it is a scissors, now why in the world would I get rid of a pair of scissors when I'm going to need a scissors? Everybody needs scissors, okay? And then they tell me that they're going to use it again, okay? Now, what I can tell you is that many people in my industry will tell people, well, if you haven't used that pair of scissors in a year's time, then you need to get rid of it. Now, everybody's heard that. It's in every single blog post, every single organizing book in the world. But that is not the way you look at it, okay? You look at your belongings and how much you like them. You have to remember how that item made you feel the last time you used it. I don't care if it was 2 years ago. It doesn't matter. Okay, so I like crafts, and I've been so busy with work that I haven't been able to get to my crafts, okay? Do you think that because I haven't used my crafts in a year's time, I'm going to get rid of them? That would be absolutely insane. No. Maybe I'll go through all the items that I have and get rid of the ones I don't like. But the year's time idea of getting rid of things if you haven't used in a year's time is really not the frame of mind that you should be thinking. It should be how that item made you feel the last time you used it. When you use something, it is an item like a scissors, or it's like a hammer, or it's like a spatula, or it's like a pot. How did that item make you feel the last time that you used it? That's what you have to remember. And where did I use this pot last? Oh, I remember. I used that pot. It didn't have any Teflon at the bottom of it. And you know what? It burnt my eggs. I had to soak, boil it on the stove for 2 hours before I got everything out of it. You know what? That pot isn't any good. I'm getting rid of it. You have to remember the last time you used something. And that, my friend, is how you're going to determine whether you should get rid of something. And most importantly, above all, listen to your gut. Okay? Let your gut be your guide. You know, deep down inside, whether or not you're going to use something again. Listen to your gut. Don't ignore your gut. Second reason why people can't get rid of things is they think that they're going to be unresourceful, that they're going to be wasteful, that they're rid of this stuff. And I can tell you where this stems from. This stems from your childhood. You had parents that lived in poverty, maybe, or you had a very frugal mother, or you had a dad that said, you know what, did you lose something at school? Oh my gosh, you lost something. And you got really mad at you for losing something. So you were trained in your childhood, and you don't have any recollection of this today, because it was so many years ago, you can't retain anything. But you have some type of notion of holding onto your stuff, because that's the way you were raised. I literally had a great grandmother, and when we would take her to the restaurant, she would drink all the cream off the table because it was free. How could you let it go to waste? I gotta drink all the cream off the table, but it's so embarrassing. I'm like, oh my gosh, grandma, you drink all the tea. You drink all the cream off the table. Like, seriously. But I mean, it's the way she was raised, because she came to this country as an immigrant with shoes on her feet, and she had nothing. And all she had to do was repurpose things her entire life to get by. And so they instilled these feelings in you, but you are you. You are living in the year 2021. Are you going to repurpose your dining room table that needs to be repurposed? Do you have the gumption? Do you have the time? You work full time, okay? You're not your mother. Your mother maybe never had a job. She had all the time in the world to be paid off furniture, but you don't, okay? And you have to look at it like that, okay? There are so many people that have so many repair projects all over their counters when I come to their house. I'm like, oh, no. These parts for this electronics, they don't make them anymore because this is a 30-year-old radio. Oh, well, maybe you can find one on eBay. They never get to these projects. So you have to be, really honest with yourself. Do you have the gumption? Do you have the time to repurpose and not be wasteful? These things can go to Goodwill, they can be sold, and you really need to take a good look at yourself and ask yourself, do you have the money to hire somebody to do it? You can't do it. You have to do this type of deductive reasoning when you're looking at your resourceful items, okay? People always overestimate what they have, so they won't get rid of anything. Okay, you see this on eBay. I see these crazy items on eBay, and they want like so much money for them. I'm like, well, you know what? I think I saw that on sale at Kmart cheaper or whatever. But people overestimate the value of their things. It's just human nature. We do that, and it's common. But when you're decluttering, you really need to get an actual value of what your item is actually worth. And the only way to do this is to reference resale websites. Okay, so if you go online, there's one called eBay, it's a big giant one, they have everything on there. You can look up your item very easily, and you can find out what the item is selling for. That doesn't mean what the item is worth. Then you can find out what items like that sell for, have sold for. That's how you're gonna know what your items are worth. When you have an actual value, and I hate to say this is gonna sound a little disheartening, but your items are worth a third of what you pay for that. Even if you buy something brand new, and you take that label off, and you can no longer return it to the store, that item is going to be worth half of what you paid for it. If you're lucky, if you can find a buyer. Because people in the resale industry, they want things for nothing. I sell on eBay, I sell on OfferUp, I get tagged day in and day out. And I can tell you, people want me to do stuff for nothing. Okay? So when you're decluttering, remember that these items are probably not worth what you think they are. Have a realistic grip of what they're worth. So when you're decluttering, you can make the process go by a little better, and it might make it easier for you to get rid of the stuff, knowing the actual value. People think that if they get rid of something, then they're going to have to replace it. Okay, I hear this all the time. Well, you're not using it, then why would you have to replace it? Okay, and you're probably using something else in its place. I hear this all the time. Caralyn, I really can't get rid of these jeans from when I was in high school, the size 2, but you know what? I'm going to lose 20 pounds, and then I'm going to fit into the wall. I said, well, when was high school? Only like 20 years ago. Do you really think that you're going to go back? Your body changes over time. Do you think that you're going to go back to those jeans, or do you think maybe you're going to reward yourself with a couple other pairs? Have a realistic grip on your item and be real. Are you really going to do that? I had a client, and I'm not talking bad about my clients. Hope I'm not sounding like that. I'm just giving my cases. I'm not saying who they are or anything like that, but I did have a client that lived in an apartment, and he had literally 500 books. They were classic books, Moby Dick, you have a hardcover, and they were like tripping hazards. Like literally, if there was a fire, he wouldn't get out of the house. And I said, well, you read these books how many times? Oh, I read them a couple times each. But you know what I'm going to do with these books? So what are you going to do with these books? He's like, when I retire, I'm going to reread all my books again. So I'm going to keep them all. And books are space opposites, you all know. And I said to myself, I just looked at him and I said, do you think that when you retire, then you're going to spend, really take the rest of your life probably to read all these books, like 500, 600 books here, with your time when you retire, or are you going to enjoy yourself? Are you going to take walks along the beach? Are you going to spend time with your grandkids? What are you going to do with your time? And I can tell you that people do develop fantasies about their things. They put hope in them, they think they're going to use them again, and at the end of the day, I just want to leave you on the note that usually you are not going to replace something that you're not using. Okay, the same. Okay, so this is a little psychological, a little heavy, but we do experience loss when we let go of our stuff. Okay, I want everybody to know in this room that you're normal. That when you get rid of something, you may feel a little melancholy, like, oh boy, I got rid of this stuff, and kind of feel a little sad. It was my kids' like toys when they were growing up, and You know, it's just like it could be a little draining. That's what makes the decluttering process so hard. But really, you know, when we have these feelings of getting rid of things, it's normal. Because when you have loss in your life, we're human beings, any type of loss, think of any loss that you've ever endeavored in your life, you're going to have a sense and a different varying degree of some type of sadness from it. Some people have extreme sadness, some people have, you know, mild, moderate sadness when they get rid of things. Some people are happy to get rid of things, okay? Also, things fill voids. And this is psychological, this has been proven. In the case of a hoarder will have maybe a multitude of losses in he or she's life. And what they do is they fill their voids, these losses, with things. So these things represent these losses. And they've already been filled, they've given them comfort. So when you have a hoarder situation, which is why it's critical, you just can't have a whole organizer like me that comes along and doesn't have any political knowledge. I'm not psychologically educated whatsoever, right? I don't have that type of degree. I can't say, okay, let's get rid of this stuff and shop, you know. But that's not how that's what I was saying. It's a gentle process. And so these people have extreme feelings of fear of letting go of stuff. So just having self-awareness that these are normal feelings, and that when you part with your things, that they're normal. But I can assure you, if you have, you know, a moderate degree of sadness, if you let go of something, I can tell you in 1 week you'll forget all about it. It's true. My clients call me up, they're like, oh, really? I got rid of that. I forgot all about it. They will forget all about it. So again, it depends on the depth that you have of these degrees. And again, you know, it's psychological. But I just want you to have this self-awareness, that you have this idea in your head that this is normal. When you really see it, okay? Now, clutter, now that we're on this subject of getting rid of things, I'm going to tell you that clutter forms largely in the stores, okay? We shop out of boredom. We all do it. I shop with my mother all the time. And my mother was notorious. My mother's a worker. Well, not worker, I shouldn't say that. my mother is accumulator. That's a nice word for her. So she buys stuff, and she's always talking me into buying stuff. Oh, that's wow. Oh, it looks so great on you. You have to buy it. It's ravishing and red. Oh, buy it. So I buy these blouses. I get home, and you know what? You don't look anything like it did before. And I'm like, I gotta return this. I hate returning stuff. I swear. I feel like I just can't stand returning stuff. I really, really, really do. And of course, like I'll shove it somewhere. And then, of course, you know, these stiff policies nowadays, especially since COVID, everything's like 30 days. You have to wish into that store and return it. And if you don't, then that's it. You're going to be at the mercy of the store. You walk in there, you have your little receipt. Oh, it expired. Oh, no. Well, guess what? It's worth a third of what you paid for it. And I'm like, how did it get down like 75% in 20 days? This is new. But you can't argue with the store, of course. So you accept it, and then you say to yourself, you know, I have like a third of what I paid for, and now I have to go back to the store and buy more stuff. Well, most people say, well, you know what, I'm not going to accept that. I'm just going to bring this item home. I'm going to give it to somebody. I know somebody I'm going to give it to a person. I'm going to give it to that person, and that item becomes clutter in your house. So be very aware of your shopping habits. You know, when you go into stores like Marshall's, TJ Maxx, and you're like, oh, I need to buy a black belt. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to go to Marshall's and TJ Maxx, and you are not going to find that black belt. And I'll tell you what you're going to find. You're going to find a bunch of stuff you don't need, and you're going to fill up your cart and buy it. So stay out of stores as much as possible, and be very aware of your shopping habits, because this is how clutter forms at home. It really is. QVC and all these online, you know, you can't sleep at night, you're on QVC, and oh my gosh, that's the last one left, I gotta buy it, you know, no. Just try to refrain and just have a little more self-control when it comes to buying, because that is really a big reason why clutter comes in the home. Okay, now I'm talking about downsizing. This is so, my clients always do this. They're like, oh, Caralyn, I'm so excited I'm moving. I'm working on a client right now, she's moving. And she's like, okay, you're gonna help me organize the design the office, do this. And oh, I was just at Marshall's, I found this great pot, I'm gonna go buy it. Oh, why? It's the last one. They'll never have another one like that in the whole wide world. Oh, yes, they will. You'll find a better one. Trust me. You never buy anything before it goes to the game, because you're going to have to pay some of the package. You're going to have to pay somebody to move it. And then when you get it to your house, guess what? It usually doesn't work out. You need to live in your space, in your new environment for a long time first, and then you can really figure out your space. It is the best way to organize. It is the best way to make nice home arrangements, is to wait till after you move. You do not want to spend time and energy packing up stuff that you don't need. And I swear, you will find something even better down the road. Have belief in that. There's always going to be something new coming out that you're going to like better. All right? But don't buy it in advance of a move. You get very excited about it, which I'm not trying to be like a bug or anything like that, but it's just the way it goes. Now I'm going to talk about 7 things you should be doing before you downsize. Okay, now these principles doesn't just mean people that are downsizing. So downsizing means you're moving from a big home to a smaller home. So 2,000 square feet to 1,000 square feet. These principles that I'm going to be telling you can also apply to decluttering. So just getting rid of things in general. And so some of them may not, but a lot of these will resonate with you. And they're, it's a pretty inclusive list. So I'm going to start with the first one. Okay, start downsizing a year in advance. I know that my clients, they laugh at my face when I tell them that. But you know what? People always, and I'm not kidding you, always overestimate how much stuff they have. I said, you know what? You have a lot of stuff. Oh, no, this is not going to be that much. Oh, no, look, everything's organized. I mean, I would just have us all with stuff in no time at all. No. You have papers to go through, you have a closet, you have toiletries, you have food, you have garages, you have attics, you have crawl spaces. It just goes on and on. Sporting goods, stuff holding on other people. You have so much stuff. Take your time. Take a year and do it, okay? You know how fast a year goes by? How long has that just go? A year and a half, over that? Okay, how fast does that go by? That's a year. More than a year. You can do this. Start as soon as you can getting rid of your stuff. And I'm going to tell you reasons why you should start in advance. The number one reason why you should start in advance is because you want to go through each and every inventory very methodically. You want to make sure that you're keeping things that you should be keeping and getting rid of things that you shouldn't be keeping. So you want to go through every single closet one by one. You want to overwhelm yourself. Why do you want to have your back against the wall and be stressed out? Do you know how stressful moving is? It is rated as one of the most high stressful events in a person's lifetime. Why would you add to that? It's like adding fire to the fuel. Like, do not do that. Start well in advance when you are downsizing. And I'm going to tell you another good reason why you should do that. You want to have a garage sale and you are decluttering slowly. It's always better to do everything nice and slowly at a nice pace. It just makes life more harmonious and peaceful. You know, put things aside for a garage sale, and you know exactly what you need to be putting aside for the garage sale. It's just a great idea to do it. Take the time. You know, do once a week, 3 hours. You can do this in a year. Before you know, the whole house is packed up, and you have everything all ready. You don't even need a stager after that, or a realtor who says that, get a stager, they get a storage center, blah blah blah. It costs all this money, so do that yourself, okay? And also, if you're selling stuff, you want to cycle through all the seasons. We live in the seasonal climate, we live in Chicago, so we go through spring, fall, whatever. And you want to sell your snow blower in the fall, right? You want to sell your snow blower in the winter or the summer. Nobody's going to buy it. And if they want it, if they buy it, you want it for nothing. Now, let me tell you one thing. You'll get top dollar for that snow blower in the fall. You will. You want to sell things at optimal times. And you want to have enough time to sell your stuff so that you can hold out the best price. That is the best strategy. So don't underestimate time and take your time when you're downsizing, okay? Now, we all have these homes where we're holding stuff for other people. I don't like doing this with people. I swear. I had a brother-in-law, and he lived in this apartment, and I gotta tell you, he liked to move into a smaller place, and he put all his stuff in our attic, and it was there forever, And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I'm not moving anytime soon. It's there forever and ever and ever in eternity. And people will forget all about it because you're the service center for them. You know, you have a friend, she moved into a condo, she has like 3 flat screen TVs, you're holding your form. It's time to start telling you people to take your stuff, okay? You have grown kids, right? The kids are all grown up, you're holding on to the mementos, your adult children have their own homes. Guess what? Time to call them up and say, can you please take your things? I'm trying to declutter, I need the help. Can you take all your old soccer uniforms and everything else and just please get that out? You need to end the conversation with a date. Because if you just end the conversation with, okay, I'll do it, yeah, well, and it'll never happen. You want to know what'll happen? The day you're moving, oh yeah, okay, I'm gonna get it now. When you're in the middle of chaos, they're gonna come. When you're so stressed out, and they're gonna say, I'm here for my stuff. No, you want to get the stuff out of the house as soon as possible. And I gotta tell you, you know, some of these people don't even want the stuff anymore. They figure, I don't really know if I want it. These old sweet TVs aren't worth anything anymore. So what I do is I say, these old TVs, sweet TVs are like 5, 6 years old now. They're not really worth anything anymore. I'm going to tell you right now, buy me like $35 for them. I mean, it's unbelievable. That's what they cost now. I said, how about I put them on the Goodwill truck that's coming to my house next week? How would you like it if I did that for you? You know, give them a time frame. That's very important. And be nice about it, but you have to be firm, okay? Otherwise, this stuff is just going to be like tacked on to your whole entire life. You're going to be carrying this stuff with you throughout your life. Okay, so also when you give things to people, don't worry about what happens after they leave your home. Now, I get a mother-in-law, and I love her dearly. She gave me all these old clothes. I don't know if you guys remember the store called Mark Shale, but it was like this high-end like store that sold like business clothes. And she gave me all these sweaters. And I felt like after she gave them to me, she really regretted giving them to me. And she kept asking me every holiday, well, why don't you wear my Cheryl sweater? Such a burden. And I have to tell you that I was not happy about that. So she was so overly concerned about who she bestowed her belongings to. I gave my pictures to my daughter. You're not even putting them up in your house. I should have given it to so-and-so and so-and-so. You know what? Let me tell you something. These people aren't helping you do clutter. You're getting stuff out of your house, and I'm telling you, half the time, straight to Goodwill they go. Just be happy that they're gone. Now, on the other side, if you are a person that has you really need a safe passage for your belongings, these items mean something to me, and I have all these big cards for all these charities, well, then I want them to go to certain places. I want my glasses to go to the Lions Club. I want my bridal gowns to go to people that can't afford them. I want, all these grand ideas. Let me tell you something. I've done all this. I do utilize many of these charities myself personally. I sent my bridal gown recently to a place that made baby clothes for stillborn babies. And it was just like I had a heart for it. So guess what it involved? I had to clean the dress. I had to box it a certain way. I had to pay for the shipping. It was just a lot of communication back and forth. It was a job. So what I'm saying is when you want to be particular and you want the safe passage of your belongings to go into the right hand, it's work. On top of the work of decluttering. So that's all I'm saying. Goodwill is fabulous. Handbest, there's so many places that you just pick up, and these places go to support really fine programs if you just research that. I'm just saying that I'm not saying not to do this. I'm just saying that you're tagging on a lot more work, and you are going to be paying for your box, you're going to be paying for the shipping, and all that kind of stuff. Okay, storage lockers, okay, I'm not a big fan of storage lockers. Okay, they have mirrors, okay, I do know they have mirrors because I had to clear them out before. And I would see landscapers at the storage centers putting their lawnmowers in there in the middle of summer. I thought, boy, they use them, and boy, all these places use them, and it's a great idea. And then I did an institutional job where I decluttered a high school. They had all their grad night stuff in there, and it needed to be cleaned out. And I thought, boy, they don't have any room at the school, so they utilize these storage lockers. I had no idea all these people reference these places for storage. But there are people, and there are people that have indecision when they want to get rid of downsize, and they decide that I'm going to put all my stuff in storage locker because I don't know what to do with it. You know, I know it's worth money, and I think I might be able to give it to so-and-so. So I'm just going to throw it in the storage locker, and the stager's going to love me. So the stager comes along, oh yeah, you know what, that lamp doesn't look too good either, it looks cluttery. Stage your house. Why don't you throw that in the storage locker too? And before you know it, the realtor stager because they have you shipping all this up here and become this place of indecision. And this stuff, I'm telling you, don't tell anybody you have a storage locker because everyone's your friend. And everybody will say, oh, you know, I have a TV, do you think you can squeeze that into your storage locker? And then when that happens, then you're really stuck here. And these bills mount fast. $150 for a 10 by 10, I don't quote me the prices have changed, but like roughly about like for a 10 by 10 space, and they're tall ceilings and stuff like that. $150 a month, that's a lot of money. And you know what, some of the times, the things that you're storing in there are not even worth it. So I would refrain from using these unless you're fortunate enough to sell your house well in advance of the sale, or if you're buying a new condo and you're renovating it, then clearly these are going to be, these have merit and they're useful. But they should have a time limit. And oftentimes people don't make time limits on them, and they just store them with things that really don't have any value. So just be very aware of that. And you might be pointed by a stager who realizes that you're a procrastinator, and they're like, well, this girl's not going to get everything. I'm just going to tell adult stage because we can't sell this house without clutter in it, and you want your house sold. So just put it over here in the storage locker, you know. And just really think of yourself, try to, and again, that's why I'm going to go back to saying, start a year in advance and start getting rid of this stuff, okay? Pictures worth 1,000 words. This is so interesting, and this works so well. And I just love it. And hear me out with this. Did you ever take a picture of yourself, and then you look at the picture and you think to yourself, gosh, do I look like that? Oh my gosh, do I really look like that? It's the same thing when you take a picture of a room in your home. Take a picture of rooms in your home in its natural state, and you'll look at the picture, and you will be able to see what stands out cluttered in that picture. And you'll also be able to look at what looks nice in that picture. Boy, that lamp looks so pretty in that picture. I would keep that lamp with me. That is going. And all that clutter in that corner, that's not going with me. So take pictures of each room in your home. Use it as a tool to help you declutter. It works phenomenally. I didn't believe this until I had a stager tell me this, and I recommend it to all my clients now. And it works. Just trust me on this. And can I tell you the best part? You have these pictures of your home in its natural state, the home that you raised all your kids in, the home that you and your husband got married in, and you had your life together with your dogs or whatever. And then it's cool to look back at these pictures, like, 10 years down the road. Oh my gosh, remember that house? Remember that? Whatever happened to that plant? Oh, I remember that kitchen. Oh wow, it's cool. It's cool to look back at the pictures after that. A lot of people regret not taking pictures of the house where they move, because the station will make you look like a completely different house when they're through. If you need to use the station. Anyway. Okay, so getting toward the end here, it is so important that you have a very good decluttering strategy in place. And I'm going to talk about my 3-part method decluttering strategy that's easy peasy, and then you'll be able to figure out in no time. It's super easy. You must have a decluttering strategy. You must fully declutter your house if you are in the event of a move, and then move. Okay, declutter first, then pack. Everybody, and I'm going to tell you, 99% of people do it simultaneously. They make the worst mistakes. I can't tell you how many times it's like a 3-ring circus when you're packing. You have all these people around helping you, boxes everywhere, confusion, paper, bubble wrap. It's just like crazy. How could you possibly make good executive decisions on what to keep and what to get rid of when you're in that type of a friendly state of mind? You absolutely cannot. So you need to declutter first and then move. And then you can do some light decluttering as you go along. Maybe I'll get rid of that too. But you don't want to have an overwhelming amount of things to pack and declutter. And besides, why do you want to pack all this stuff and move it with you? It costs so much money to pack and move. And they charge you by the box and by the weight or whatever they do, So you want to make sure that you don't decide immediately, okay? So now I'm going to talk about this decluttering strategy that I mentioned earlier. And when you begin to declutter anything in your house, it's going to be important that you have these supplies in place. You will need boxes, bags, labels, this kind of stuff to sort everything out. Then you want to pick a space in your house that's not too overwhelming. You don't want to tackle the whole kitchen. If you have a highly disorganized kitchen, you're not going to want to do that in one large sweep. You're going to want to maybe one day do the pantry, one day do the cabinets, one day do the refrigerator, did I ever say that? But anyway, you want to, section it off in increments that you could probably tackle in 3 hours. Don't overwhelm yourself because it will most likely end up being a defeatist attitude and you'll throw in the towel and you won't want to do it, okay? So again, small baby steps and one thing at a time. First stage to the whole organizing process is sorting. And sorting is the physical part of organizing. That is like taking a light group of items. Say like, you want to be able to take one item at a time, okay? You want to be able to take like all your footwear. So you take all your footwear that you have throughout your house. Your boots, your gym shoes, your party shoes, your sandals, all these items, you place them in an open place, and then you subdivide them. Okay, all the boots here, all the gym shoes here, all this here, okay? And then you can further subdivide these piles by color, or you can do it by fabric or whatever, so that you have your piles dissected as small as possible. And by doing so, it's going to set you up for the next stage of home organizing, which is the decluttering process, which is the horrible part of organizing. And that is when you have to decide what to get rid of and what to keep. You will not be able to organize and declutter, you will not be able to declutter unless you know how much you have of something. There is no way in the world you're gonna willy-nilly and open up a closet and say, I'm gonna get rid of this coat, I'm gonna get rid of that, without knowing how many of the coats you have like it, okay? The only way you can successfully declutter is knowing your actual inventory. If I know I have 8 pens, okay, and I want to only keep 5 pens, I'm going to get rid of the 3 ones that I don't like. And the only way I'm going to be able to do that is because I know how many I have. Because then I know that I have 5 that I can keep. So I have 5 that I can use. If you didn't do this sorting in the beginning, it would be very hard for you and confusing if you just clutter. Okay? So the second stage is decluttering. It's that the mental part of decluttering is getting rid of stuff. It goes back to all these emotions and all these feelings and the voids and the hem and haw and the decisive attitude. It's very difficult. So I'm going to go through 10, and I'll do these quickly. But you got 10 strategies that I would like you to think about. And some of these will resonate with you. Some of these will be like, okay, I don't know how to do that. But they're very beneficial, and I use them. Okay, so the first thing you should do when you're decluttering, okay, after you've already sorted everything out, is you want to start getting rid of the stuff that you don't like. Easy peasy stuff. Broken things. Oh, this clock, I'll never fix it. Come on, I'm getting rid of it. These wire hangers, stale air fresheners, old toothbrushes, expired food, expired medications. Those are stuff that's easy. And what this will do is it'll build up a mindset. It'll build up a momentum for you to get a decisive mindset for you to keep going. And so once you conquer these little stages of getting rid of stuff, it's easier to tackle the next stage. So you want to set yourself up into a positive frame where you're in the decluttering mode. So once you're in the zone, it's all about being in a zone. I'm not kidding you. Organizing is zoning. When I work, I'm in the zone, period. You need to get into the zone, and this helps you get into that zone. Then I would do something like this. You don't have to do this, but I do this. Set parameters, okay? So you have a small little closet, and you have an overabundance of clothes. Set parameters, okay? How many gray sweaters do you need? Okay, limit yourself to 5. I mean, unless you wear gray every day. I mean, I don't know, it's always happened with the person, but how many work shoes you need? 2 pairs of work shoes. I go to the gym a couple times a week, and I only really use these 2 pairs of gym shoes, so I'll set the parameter to 2 gym shoes, 5 belts, 11 ties, 2 pairs of cufflinks. So you kind of write down a list of what your parameters are. You use these boundaries when you're decluttering. So when you're decluttering your closet, you have this list as a guideline, and this list is going to tell you, hey, it said that I should really probably keep 5 sweaters. Okay, so I have 7 sweaters here. Maybe I'll get rid of 3 that I don't really like. And you believe me, you'll find 3 that you don't like. The one that's too tight, the one that has a snag in it, the one that has a stain in it, the one that has to have the butt replaced in it, go to the Goodwill box, okay? So you need to set these parameters. And I think they're very imperative to successful home organizing. Otherwise, you'll keep everything. And that's not good, like I told you, it isn't good. I'm not trying to sit here and tell you, get rid of all your stuff. But we have to be realistic. We are not using so much of our things. I mean, there are national studies that show people only use 20% of the wardrobe. So keep that in mind when you're setting these parameters. You know that. We wear the same thing every day, right? I mean, let's be real, I know you do. We wear about 20% of your wardrobe all the time, and there's just a bunch of stuff that just in the family. Okay? So consider selling valuable items sooner than later. Okay, this is important. I think kind of reiteration, but things plummet in value overnight, even clothing. And if you want to donate your stuff, your clothing somewhere to a resale shop, they're smarter than you think. They know how old your clothes are. Don't fool them. They only get to your clothes when you're 2 years old. So if you go to a resale store and you think, oh, they'll probably take this, it has tags on it, it's 10 years old, they're going to say, this is 10 years old. We don't want it. They want current stuff. They want new stuff. They want what's in style. So the sooner the better you get rid of your stuff, the better off you are. If you know that you're not using something in 2 years' time, sell it, get rid of it. Maybe sell it so you can get money for it. Okay, so we're going to have to face these heirloom boxes, okay? So we have mementos, keepsakes. Okay, so we have our inherited clutter. So we have inherited clutter that we were bestowed to us by our great aunt. She gave us this lovely tea set that we will never display in our house. We don't like tea. It's been sitting in a box in our basement for eternity and not seen the day of light ever. And you know what? We don't want it. So what are we going to do with it? Well, I'm going to tell you something. Unfortunately, nobody wants the stuff anymore. These younger people, millennials, and Generation Xers, they're not putting this stuff on the private registries anymore. You can find some people, and it's shrinking and shrinking and shrinking the amount of people that's taking this stuff. Okay, there's a little more shops, I would say, in the city of Chicago that are taking vintage, because a lot of people are into that vintage thing, but they don't know the value like they used to. So consider maybe giving it to a family member that loved your grandmother, that loves tea, and has a traditional home, and would love to display these things. Reach out to family members, or consider selling this stuff, because otherwise, this is going to become inherited clutter to somebody else down the line. If you're never going to open this box and never use this stuff again. I'm not trying to be harsh or anything like that. I'm just trying to tell you like this, because I see this all the time, especially with the senior downsizing. I tend to see a lot of stuff that has just been carried over from generation to generation to generation. Then we have our own mementos and keepsakes that we manage to clutter all around. That is our children's artwork, and that is all our high school memorabilia, our husband's football jersey, and all the stuff that we need to look at. Now, I can tell you that don't get rid of the stuff, okay, obviously, but we need to pare these kind of boxes down. You need to take some time out, sort everything out, put your husband's stuff together, your stuff together. I most recently decluttered, after all these years, my high school memorabilia box. And I thought everything in there was so important. But can I tell you, I haven't opened the box in so many years. So I opened the box up, and I started going through all the stuff. And I found the most crazy things in there that were so meaningless. I found cards from people that I didn't even remember. I found report cards that were at bad grades. I found so much stuff in there that I was just like, I don't want this stuff anymore. And I just kept the meaningful stuff. So I went from this big baker boxes that was maybe like, I don't know, 14 by 20 or whatever, to a little shoebox. And everything in that little shoebox was meaningful. And all I can tell you is paring down, setting parameters, okay? 10 pieces of artwork from my first graders' art class. So maybe the best report cards that and then you sit there with your child too. Did you really like this? Does it mean anything? You know, and pare these items down. Now I'm just going to show you this really cool idea. Now, a lot of organizers in my industry sell these boxes. I don't know if you've ever seen them on Etsy. They're called memory boxes. They're $60. They include shipping. I don't sell them. People sell them. But they're really great because they actually make vinyl custom letters for you. You can use them for like your honeymoon, your vacation, your kids stuff. You know, like some genealogy information. And then the organizer will actually have hanging folders, and they will make classifications for you. and they are plastic, they're hard plastic. They're just great, and they're stackable. So if you really want to get crazy with like downsizing and going through all your kids, all the stuff that, you know, it's just always gets out of hand, these are great ways to contain them and to set limits on these things. Buy them from day one, and they're great gifts. They're great gifts to give like grandkids, your friends' kids, or whatever. They're great gifts. And I think you can buy them a little cheaper than Etsy.com, the website. And I don't know if you ever go on like social media platforms like Instagram or Pinterest. There's a ton of work that I do with all this stuff. But I just had to point this out too because it's really cool. Number 5, small gadgets. Small gadgets. Okay, we all have small gadgets. Okay, we're on QVC, and you know what? We have to get that cotton candy machine because it is just the coolest thing. Or we have to get this food processor. It is just going to be a culinary revolution in our kitchen. And these are single purpose items. And you know what they were? They were violent things. They were impulsive gadgets that we use. And they only have a single purpose. And typically these items tend to not get used because they have all these moving parts. They have to be hand washed. And guess what? Your cooking knives are doing the job for you. You don't even need to use these things. And so people feel guilty that they bought these things. Oh, I bought it, you know, it's on the box, it's with money, they got to keep it. And guess what these things are? They're space hogs. Space hogs, space hogs, space hogs. They take up so much space. I see so many times when I'm unpacking, like just so many of them. And I'm like, oh dear. I'm like, do you realize that you have 3 coffee pots? I'm like, we need to pare down. Well, you know, I upgraded to the K-cup technology, and I think I'm going to keep that percolator. The percolator from 1950? No. Are you going to keep the old coffee pots? Oh, you know, I'm going to entertain it and I'm going to use it. No, you're not. You're not. Just go downstairs and get a Heirloom box. Like, no. Like, this stuff, you don't have room for. They are supported. Again, unless you have a gigantic house and you have the luxury of having a big pantry and you can line up all your, you know, your small appliances, like a Pinterest photograph, I go for it. But other than that, I'm going to strongly encourage you to get rid of them. And the worst part of all, and I'm going to say this again, the worst part of all is that these things hold no value. You cannot sell them. These are garage sale items. Nobody wants your old coffee pot. No one. Except somebody maybe at the Goodwill. And you can't get anything for them. $10, garage sale. You want to have garage sale? A lot of work. Okay, it's going to make $10 off that. What is your time worth? I mean, seriously, like these things don't have any value. The older they are, the worse it becomes. So just be mindful of that. Not trying to be negative, but I'm just telling you the facts. Number 6, likewise, we decorate a room. Oh, I want to decorate my room, and you know, it's purple, it's been purple for 10 years. I'm going to change it to pink. But you know what? There isn't anything wrong with my old comforter, or my bed skirt, or my panels, or my drapes. So you know what I'm going to do with all these items? Because they're perfectly in good shape. And guess what? We feel guilty getting rid of stuff in perfectly good shape. So we just cast it away into our overstuffed linen cabinet, linen closet. We do this with shower curtains, bath mats, and we just, for some reason, think that there's going to be some, I don't know, something's going to happen where you're going to revert back to your old decor. Never! You are never going to go back to that. Maybe in 20 years when it comes back to style, but you'll probably be moved out of the house by then. So remember, unfortunately, the worst part of this is that these items hold no value, not even at a garage sale. You can't sell old linens at a garage sale. Nobody wants old linens. Some people might think it's gross, unless you know the person. I get friends who try to sell the beautiful hotel quality bedding at a garage sale. It was like the last thing sitting there. I'm like, I told you they weren't going to sell. These things are donation items. And I got to tell you, a lot of, you know, pet centers, like, you know, what do you call those places? Like places that take in, like, you know, cruelty centers for the dogs and stuff like that. Those are the places these items belong to. They belong to shelters, dog shelters, or cat shelters, or bird shelters. I don't know, whatever they have. So these people are in such need of these items. Because these little doggies and little kitties need places to feel comfortable and to sit down and be comfortable. That's where these things belong. they don't even sell a brand sale. So be very, very cognizant of this when you are decluttering your linen closet. Bear in mind that these old items do hold a little bit of value, okay? Then, oh boy, I know everyone wants to hear about this, but we need to digitize, folks, because the VHS machines, I think, are on their way out, and if you still have VHS, good luck finding a place that's going to transfer. No, I know the place, in case you need one. But there's one in Heirloom Park and Illinois, but it is just tough forever to do it. It was fine for me. I thought it was that big person was calling me. It's slow. The machines like move like fast. And these are becoming antiquated, obviously. And DVDs, they're on their way out too. And can I tell you the problem with these items? They degrade. Okay, quality degrade. They have short shelf life. VHS tape, the worst. If you take a 20-year-old VHS tape, it's already funny. It's already like plays funny. It's already like got like all kinds of nicks and weird things going on when you watch it. And even the DVD. And the problem with these items are, and the CDs, you gotta make sure they're not copyrighted or transfer. That's very important. They break. Okay, they scratch or they break. What do you do if you don't have a backup copy of it? Well, you lost that memory for good. So you need to get the stuff on digital format. People will do it for you. There's services that will do it for you. It is not worth your time to try to figure this out on your own. You won't make yourself absolutely bonkers doing it. Hire somebody for the copy. Well, maybe it doesn't cost a lot, but it's worth it. It's their home videos and their memories, things like that. And you can also transfer this type of data to family members so easily. You can email them videos and pictures, and people love that. And then they want to download it and make a hard copy photo out of it. They can do it. One snapfish should do it. But I'm going to strongly encourage you, especially if you're at the VHS stage. Those have got to go. Don't put them on DVDs. Don't even waste your time putting them on DVDs because we're way past that technology already. We are on to streamlining cloud storage. If you feel comfortable with an external hard drive or even a flash drive, that is where you need to be with this stuff, okay? Paperwork, you can find the services of a home organizer to transfer your paperwork onto a digital format. I do it, and I put it in digital files. But you have to trust. You have to trust the organizer. And we are going through your personal papers. We are scanning everything. And we are creating files and subfolders for you and everything else. So you can do that if it's just too overwhelming for you, especially if you have an abundance of paperwork. The first thing I would do is get rid of all the paperwork that you don't want anymore, because that is the most important thing. You don't want to have to pay somebody to be scanning stuff that you don't need, that you can easily access on the internet yourself. So be very aware of what you're saving, what you're not, and always reference your tax account and what to keep and what not to keep. That is so imperative because you lost change. I don't even like to give that information because if I give this information and something screws up, it's on me. So I always tell them, talk to your attorney or talk to your tax account first, and then tell me how many years you want to keep this stuff. And then I'll transfer it for them. So that is very important. That's why you pay this tax attorney to do this for you, okay? To give you this information. It's not that hard. And I'm going to tell you one thing right now. The days of showing up at the tax account with a box full of receipts, those days are long gone, and they're going to charge you to scan all that. So try to see if you can do it on your own or hire a professional organizer. And I know a couple of them do it really fast and really inexpensive in case you want that information. By the way, in this presentation, please give your email address, and if you have any questions that you want answered outside of this presentation, I have a workbook of reference. Please reach out to me, and I will give you some information that you need if you're looking for something that we're not covering here. If you don't want to ask a question, then I'm happy to send you information. Okay. I like this one. Okay, so you have all these young, strong people that can help you move. Take your stuff. Oh, you want this TV? Come and get it. Okay, then you don't have to deal with it. And college kids and moving into their own apartments off campus, where you can take all the stuff. But would you mind helping me move or pack when I need it? If you're taking my sofa and this and that, and usually these kids come back and they're happy to help you pack them up. because you're giving them things. So it's a good idea, it's a good strategy, and I see it's working. I've seen it done very successfully. Also, okay, so we got this china, like I told you, like the market for the stuff is dwindling. I often tell people, you know, I have these everyday dishes, they're ceramic, you really don't like them, you tell me you don't like them, why don't you start using your china? Why are you reserving the right to use your china? What are you gonna do, pass it down from generation to generation? These are vessels to drink and eat from. Silver is meant to be enjoyed. Why don't you enjoy yourself and use this stuff? And take all your everyday dishes and donate them and start using this stuff. You're packing it away and you're just storing it. Use it, enjoy it, it's beautiful, have fun. That's what I would do anyway if I could. And then lastly, compartmentalize organizing. Many store, you know, again, like I said this earlier, but I'm just reiterating. You know, just focus on maybe just doing like your jeans one day, your shoes one day, your jeans, you know, your sweaters one day, get your boxes up on top another time. You know, just slowly but surely to compartmentalize sorting and decluttering. And then I have to tell you, many small tasks done on a weekly basis add up to big changes. It's like that with anything in life. Every day you do something and you think, am I getting anywhere? Am I getting anywhere? Am I getting anywhere? I think like that with my business last time. Am I getting anywhere? Am I getting anywhere? But then a year, it's like, wow, look where I came, you know? So, you know, again, you know, just like take it easy, take it small, because eventually you get to where you need to be. Your journey will lead you into the right way. Okay, so lastly, I promise it's almost over. We're going to talk about storage arrangement. There's a million different ways to store things. Okay, so after you decluttered everything, now you got to put everything back, right? So these are just tips, because there's like a million ways to store things. Everybody has different tastes. What I'm going to suggest, and this is so important, please pay attention to this one, because everybody makes a mistake. Because when I show up at jobs, like these giant containers, I'm like, oh no. These large containers, I would reserve them for the garage only. These big giant containers, they don't even fit inside homes. Where are you going to put the giant containers? In your kitchen cabinet? Where's it going to go? Nowhere. In your front of a closet on the floor, it's going to be like you're going to be able to get in the closet. So reserve these giant containers for the garage or like your storage crate, your storage facility, or your storage locker in your condo, or whatever. That's where they belong. And, you know, large items belong in there. Christmas decorations, Hanukkah decorations, whatever you have. And then always use the container that fits the size of the item. Small containers, small containers. Small items, small containers. Medium items, medium containers, and so on. So you want to make sure that your items are fitting the size of the container. The last thing you want to do is have a large container filled with a bunch of small little things, so you're fishing around looking for stuff. Not a good idea. A lot of people do that. Okay, miscellaneous containers. Okay, miscellaneous containers, no. Make them specific to a particular room. Okay, a miscellaneous container in a home is a catch-all container. And it's a container that nobody knows even what's in it. And nobody even ever opens that miscellaneous containers because nobody knows, you know, it's just one of those things. Make it special to a certain room. Kitchen miscellaneous, craft room miscellaneous, home office miscellaneous. Because every room has odds and ends. Every single kitchen has odds and ends in it. So you want to make sure that you have just a kitchen miscellaneous container, a bedroom miscellaneous container, a closet miscellaneous container. And that's where you're going to find the things you're looking for. You'll find things faster this way. Likewise, we have junk drawers. We can't escape these. Every house has them. We can't because space limitations. But I have to say, if you have a junk drawer, you must compartmentalize it. You can find these trays. They're very expensive. They come tandem or tiered. You want to be able to put like things together. Pens in one, glue in one. Compartmentalize them. Especially like with dangerous things like scissors. You don't want to go fishing through a drawer when you cut your finger on a scissors. So for safety purposes only, compartmentalize your junk drawer. Okay, organizers. So after you've done, I already explained that you need to have organizers for 50 items that you are storing in them. When you place the organizer back in your house on a shelf, you want to make sure that you're maximizing space. So you want to measure the shelf and make sure that the organizers fit accordingly. You want to space them like an inch apart so you don't have dead space. The last thing you want to do is have this big giant shelf and have this itty bitty little organizer to work in the space. You are not utilizing your space effectively. So measure, measure, measure. That is like the key to organizing, the key to space efficiency in your home is to make sure you're utilizing your space well. You don't want to have a lot of dead space all over. Height, width, an organizer has height, width, and depth. And that is a measure that you need to take when you're placing these articles back into your home. Okay, so this is it. Okay, when I deal with clients, I always tell them, organizer expenses, we all know that. Go to the container store, I have a client spend like $500 on nonsense, it's just like craziness. And then plus hire me. I mean, that's for the rich, okay, period. Okay, people can't afford that. My average client is like, no, what can I use around the house? So when I start a job with a client, I tell them, you know what, anything that has storage potential, any storage vessel, container, canister set, gift boxes, even Tupperware, even those little cake pans that have like compartments to them, those can go in drawers. Be creative. Nobody's going to see it behind a door, but you need compartmentalization. You cannot organize without compartmentalization. Otherwise, it's just going to go right back into a big giant mess. Okay? And if you don't have a home for everything, then it's going to go right back into a big giant mess. In order to be successful at home organizing, you have to change your current pattern of organizing. And this is what you need to do. You need to compartmentalize. And you need to do this. So, Amazon corrugated shopping boxes are king. I love using them. And you can even buy paper at the craft store and make it look prettier or whatever. You want to stick in the drawer. You can care about aesthetics and stuff like that. But I always tell clients, anything that you have that has storage potential, when I show up for the job, go through every single area in your home, you get these organizers, and I will find them, and I will work with those. And they love that. My clients absolutely love that. So, okay. Now when you're going back to your storage arrangements, and this is very common, and I just did this job with this lady. It was so interesting. She was just very interesting. I loved her. She wanted to have she moved to a different house, and she had a vanity, and it was a double sink vanity, and she said that I put her husband's stuff on one side and her stuff on the other side. She said, "Oh, you need to switch that." I said, "Well, why? This makes more sense. Your husband is disabled, and the toilet, the toilet's right there. This is going to make more sense if he's closer to this side." Oh, no. In my old house, I was on the left, and he was on the right. It was just the way her mind was. People get so locked in where things go. All my spices, they've always been in the cabinet. Well, they're not working in the cabinet. They're falling all over the organizer, and your spices are a mess. I can't find one thing. They're like a giant mess. Well, why do you put them in this empty drawer right here? I can find a container for it, and for $1, I can buy the jars, and I can put inexpensive labels on there, and solve the problem. Okay, I'll try it. And once they try and do arrangements, they're very happy. So don't get locked in to where your things are certainly placed. Think of locating them somewhere else that's better. And I'm not kidding you. Usually, the place that you relocate them is a better place. So, try not to get locked in with this thought pattern of having everything in certain spots. That it's always been since time began or whatever. Okay, and I'm just going to wrap this whole discussion up just talking about wall space, because you know what? Nobody uses the wall. And it's unfortunate, because you need to use walls. And there's so many great wall organizers. And instead of using your floor and stuffing your closet to capacity and having bowling balls fall out when you open the door, why don't you put things on the wall? You can put flowers, and you can make a little flower on the wall, with these wall mounted organizers. I'm just going to show you a bunch of ideas. This is just a very thin unit. This is from Pottery Barn. But it's just a nice way to stack books versus a traditional shelf. Again, getting things off the floor and utilizing wall space. This is a desk that's mounted to a wall. I really love this. This is on a website called Modern. These are all online places, but you can find these everywhere. Crate and Barrel sells this stuff, West Down sells it. These are anchor stores. And the CB2 store and Wayfair, if you're really from Wayfair, just Google wall mounted desk and you'll find 1,000. But I think this is a great concept. It saves outdoor space. You know, wall mounted entertainment centers, just to put your accessory items on there. This is a system by the Container Stores. This is not a system, okay? And this was designed to be a desk in a room, okay? So these shelves are only like 16 inches deep, and it's an adjustable system. It's a track rail, it's a track system. It's very easy. It just mounts with anchors at the top on a track, and then these rails just pull in. You can rearrange it, and it's completely adjustable. But this is a wall organizer, and it's a closet system. It's just a very creative way of using wall space. And it's pretty. I think it looks really pretty. This is a Murphy wall bed. I know everyone knows what these are. But, you know, apartment living. They're great. They fold up, and they have a shelf on the outside. You know, Murphy beds obviously take care of wall space, and this picture didn't turn out so well. But it's just an example of a bulletin board over a desk. Then you can hang like your headphones on, so you don't have things cluttering all over your desk. You're getting them up and off the wall and onto a bulletin board with your papers as well. Rail system is really big at IKEA. I don't know if you guys are big IKEA shoppers. I'm a huge IKEA shopper. They have a lot of new these rails that hold cups, that hold cutlery, that hold cooking utensils, and they look great in kitchens. They have shelves above them, and then above that you can even put shelves are huge now. Shelves are huge decor in kitchens. A lot of people are opting for not so many cabinets now, and they're doing the shelving thing. Like the European look that's very in now. But if you go to IKEA, these are super affordable. It's a pretty way of grabbing that wall space. And then this is something that I found on AliExpress, if you're familiar with it, but they also sell it on Amazon. It's just to hold your plates on the wall if you don't have cabinet space. It's great for apartment living, and it looks neat and tidy, and everything's easy to find. I love the knife rack, and I love how it's all situated in the corner and just kind of away from like the kitchen area and the sink and that. But it's pretty. This is something I did. This was an IKEA. It's called a sketch board, and I use it for so many different things. But I have guests in my house, and I just actually decided to use it since it cost $20. And down here, I can get a picture there. I just get house and I just put books on there, and I put cotton balls just for like house cats. And it's just cute. It's $20. It just takes up the wall space. Instead of having what else I could do? I don't have a closet in the room. It's just like a little room. And there you go. It looks really pretty. If you saw this picture on a larger scale, it looks cool. This I did for a client. Big basketball player in the house. Basketballs were everywhere. Can't put basketballs in the garage. You have to kind of know how to store stuff too, because there's rules. I mean, all sporting equipment and stuff like that. The plates in the garage, especially in the Chicagoland. Weather, the climates that we have, the hot and cold, the plates, the grades, the leather, and stuff like that. But these are kind of like leather balls that are more expensive. She's a college athlete, and so what I decided, I bought these claws from they're called mounting claws. They can hold footballs and things like that at the container store. And above her closet, way towards the ceiling, I put all her. She has like 1,000 balls, but I put some of her less used balls and also really good plain balls below in a different area. But it's a clever idea of capturing, wall spaces high and low. So, look to the walls for organizing, that's all I can say. So thank you, everybody, for attending, and I'm here for questions if you have any. Probably talk about everything. Thank you.